Yeah, I never didn't shake my pants after that. Welcome to 10 Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Phil Freeman.
And with me, as always, is Shane Patrick. And we're going to talk a little bit about flying helicopters in Africa.
Let's get right to it, shall we?
Africa has its fair share of dangers and annoyances.
It does indeed.
And they're famous for them. Every place is famous for them. In Africa, did you ever experience any dangers or annoyances? What did you learn?
There's a couple things I learned. One thing I learned is you should shake your pants out before you put them on. Because if you don't, you might pull them on and then feel this almost like an electric shock in your hip. Somehow, luckily, I knew what that was. I knew I was being bit by something. So I kind of grabbed the fabric of my pants and squeezed that spot and took them back off and then threw my pants on the ground, like kind of whipped them a couple times, and there was a scorpion in there. Yeah, 3 inches long, which I guess was a good thing. They say the smaller they are, the more you need to be concerned. Right. So I've been there a while, so I knew I needed to check on this and see if I needed anti-venom or if I was going to just be laughed at.
Was it like a bee sting?
Yeah, it was way more than a bee sting. I mean, it hurt about that same amount, I suppose.
What did it remind you of in childhood? I mean, we all go through stuff.
It reminded me of touching an electric fence. No, just that initial. But as I was walking to the manager's tent, the camp
venom
manager's
was working its way into you.
Yeah, I was getting... My right leg was not performing the way my left leg was. It wasn't really going... Yeah, I mean, I guess it was numb. It was more like...
You weren't getting feeling.
I couldn't control it. It was, I would take a normal step and then kind of a...
It was getting jelly and wobbly?
Yeah, but I could totally stand on it.
So part of you was an adult, the other one was a 5-year-old?
Something like that. Yeah, it was loss of major motor skills. I mean, this happened within a minute. This was beginning.
Whoa.
And I got to the manager's tent.
How many,
Plenty.
In different types of poisons, right? And then
sure.
Your biochemistry versus that type of venom, or you call it a poison or a venom?
Yeah, I think they say venom. I mean, you get stung by them. You don't get bit, right? Because it's on their tail. But he asked me if it was black or yellow, and I said yellow, and he said good, because if it was black, you'd be dead. And then I asked him, well, why'd you ask me if I would have already been dead and I couldn't ask you? Clearly, you know the answer. But that was, humor gets lost in translation and whatever. Mm-hmm. That
some of the funniest things ever said were actually said.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, and so I luckily did not have to fly that day. Because I wonder if I would have been able to. Because your feet are pretty important for taking off and landing. They're probably doing 80% of the work.
Just keeping that thing straight.
Yep.
In that windstorm you created.
Yeah. But I didn't have to fly that day. So I'm like, okay. I had a bruise from my hip.
Really? It started... Oh, so it burst the cell walls?
I guess so, because it bruised. Yeah, it was a proper hematoma, like swollen up, and
it did some damage.
It went from
the cell walls, probably.
I guess, because I had discolored bruising is blood, right? I had discolored skin from the bottom of my ribs all the way to my knee on that side. The leg worked fine the next day, forever. But for a couple weeks, if I bumped you or even like soaping up in the shower, sometimes you'd hit a spot and get a wave of pain. It was, I never didn't shake my pants after that. And I went ahead and dumped my boots out. I mean,
but come on, wasn't there a certain amount of pride that a scorpion would find home and that's you?
Yeah, it was nice to have another
It felt
story.
comfortable there. What a bold move.
Yeah, I mean,
huh?
we could have been friends. I wish we could have been friends, but he or she was kind of mean. I mean, if we're not going to share my pants, they're my pants.
That was Shane Patrick talking about flying helicopters in Africa. If you want to learn more about Shane or listen to more 10-minute travels, please check us out at 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure.
Is a scorpion a crustacean?
I'm
Like a
not
land
sure.
crustacean?
Are there land crustaceans?
I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, I don't know.